Hello everyone, I'm back with another video, and in today's video we have a Nintendo Switch controller. This is a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and in this video I'm going to take you on a step-by-step how you can open it up and how you can replace the joystick if any of your joystick is drifting or is not working properly. There's a pretty much not a repair, I'll call it just replacement of the joystick. You can do it the whole mechanical joystick can be replaced. And I'll leave the link in the video description where you can purchase one. I'll leave the link for the tools that I'll be using and everything. And I'll not skip everything will be linked in the video description. So in case you need to purchase yours. With all this said, let's get into it. So first thing first, I'm gonna go over the tools, everything we're gonna be using. So we need a heating mat, somewhere that you can work stuff. This is not a must, but it's good to have a small one. You need an isopropylic alcohol, 98% or 99% isopropylic alcohol, one sheet or two sheet of the worktop towel. You need a toothbrush, used or new toothbrush to clean, and you need a screwdriver set. I'll be using a iFixit screwdriver set as they have one of the best screwdrivers out there. And from this tool set, we're going to be using a whole bunch of stuff. You will need a solder station. I'll be using a TS100 solder station. These are really not, they're like what, 60, 80 bucks probably. And they're 12-volt USB-C, and they can get the job done. You don't have to buy big, huge solder station. So we're going to be using this one. And we are going to be using a few other stuff. Solder, you don't need the whole roll of solder, just a little bit of it. And you need a little bit of flux. You can get a small container. I have a big container. Another container to grab my garbage that falls off. The soldering wick, it's a good to have. And I have a little, I bought it on AliExpress, on eBay. You can buy this low melting solder paste to make the job easier. A kitchen appliance, you can get this sponge fiber, metallic fiber to clean the tip of the solder iron. A little bit of the stand for the solder to keep it on. I have this kind of jig in here to hold the board in place so it doesn't move around. So, but if this is not a must, but without this, it's going to be a little difficult to hold this stuff around. And the rest is Kapton tape to isolate, a pair of tweezers, and a little bit of scissors, a big one or a small one, whichever you want, to cut the extra wick. Another one is a hot station. You can get this hot station. I'll leave the link. They're cheap, roughly. They look big, but they're cheap. Just a little hot station. You're going to use this one, and that's it. And you need your replacement joystick. So this is the joystick that we're going to be replacing. It just does the axis, the X and Y, and when you push it down, it does the little click button right there. So we're going to be replacing this brand new one. All right, first thing first, let's open it up. What do we need? We need a screwdriver. We're going to use a Phillips #1. We're going to remove two side ones, the two tiny screws on the bottom corners. Remove them. These are a little longer screws, so these are the longest screws. And slide the caps out. And then down here, we have two black screws and two chrome screws. Remove all four of them. Came out, the other one is still there. Use that pair of tweezers to pull them out. Then just pull this cover out, and it will be right there. Just push it down, and it comes out. All right. Now we're gonna remove the battery underneath. Just grab it from one side, bring it up. Now we got a few more screws to go. There's a one screw right in here, one in the corner, one in the other corner. Go ahead and remove these screws. The screws on the top is our longer screws. The bottom one is the short, right? And this left one is short one too. So these two are the short ones. This top one is the long screw. And there's one more screw right at the back in here. To reach that one, it's gonna be you need a little longer screw head. So I'm gonna find a screwdriver that is a little longer. So you're gonna remove these are Phillips screw. So remove that one and remove the other one in the other side. So these two are the longest screws too, right? So now that we remove those, we can go ahead and detach it. Let's grab a little opening tool. For opening, I'll be using a guitar pick. Just go ahead and detach that one. Has a little, oh, there's a hair in here. Remove all these cat hairs, whatever is in there. And we are going to detach this flex cable by lifting up this latch right on the bottom, 90-degree upward, and slide it back. And again, take it outside and clean it. If yours has lots of cat hair or dog hair, this one is filled with lots of cat hair. We can lift up the cap and you can do some cleaning. All right, I cleaned up a little bit. We're gonna remove the motherboard from here. There's three screws in here. So remove these three screws. Remove the motherboard. I'm gonna connect my solder iron. So it heats up. I'll probably want to change the tape of this solder iron to a little thicker tape. So I'm gonna switch it to this flat one right here. All right, now we're gonna connect this one. Put it to one side. I'm gonna turn it on. All right, so let's go ahead and we did remove the screws. Now we're gonna remove this black screw at this white screw here. Remove this cover here. This board comes up and it slide out and you can flip it over and we can work in here on this side. We don't have to desolder anything else. You could desolder, but I rather not to. So we're gonna work on these legs in here and we're gonna remove this side out. So what we're gonna do first is apply a little bit of flux on the terminals on the bottom here. All right. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab this little bit of the low melting solder and I'll deposit the paste right in here. And we're gonna grab a little bit. I should grab a whole bunch of it. And we are gonna apply right over the terminals. So this way we can mix the old solder with the new one. Now we applied it in there. I'm gonna hold it somewhere. You wanna hold it somewhere so we can put a heat over here and we're gonna pull this one out from this side. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use my little board holder in here. I'm gonna put this one down, lock it in place. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab a little holding. So while I'm pulling it out, I'm gonna heat up the top part. So I'm gonna set up my hot station down to 380. and I'm gonna be heating it up. There we go. So we have successfully removed it. Now we're gonna put this to one side, and we're gonna grab our alcohol, a little bit of towel, and we're gonna soak it in an alcohol, and we're gonna rub over the board so we can remove this old plugs in here. Check the other side, make sure everything on the other side is perfectly fine. That's fine. All right. So now what I'm gonna do in here, I'm gonna apply a little bit of the flux, fresh new flux, right over the pads in here. And I'm gonna grab my desoldering wick, and we are gonna apply, clean up the tip. No solder, nothing like that. Just clean the tip, and we're gonna hold it over this joint so we can open up these passages. Once it becomes a little longer, so it's dirtier, just go keep cutting it out. Right. Now that it's nicely opened up, we can test it out to make sure the new joystick goes in nicely. So I'm pushing it down from this bottom side. I see these ones are going. Okay. The joints on this other end, they are not opened up, so I'm gonna remove it from the jig. Nice. So I can see a little bit of the on this side. So what we need to do is to add a little bit of the solder on the joints that are not opened. And clean it up, and we're gonna desolder it again. All right, the thing is finally opened up. Looks all over this thing here. I'm gonna clean it up. And we're gonna put this joystick in and make sure that it goes in every one of the holes. There we go. It goes in, sits down flush with the board. All right, so now that we figured it out, we're gonna prepare to put it back in. All right, now that we're gonna clean up the place a little bit, we're gonna start soldering it in. So make sure you clean both sides with an alcohol. So you don't want any solder on this side or any flux on this side where the joystick goes. And you wanna push it in, align it, make sure. There we go. Once it's in flush with the motherboard, what you want to do, you want to hold it with 2 fingers on the side like this. While I'm holding it, I'm going to put a fair amount of flux on the pins. Just double check, make sure everything is in there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to grab a solder on the solder tip, clean it up. What I do, I'll put in the corners in an X shape, one in there, and one a little bit of in the other side. There we go. I think these two legs are connected to each other, but yeah. I'm gonna put this other one in here, in this side. I'm not holding it for too long, just 1 or 2 seconds, and that's it. Otherwise, you're gonna damage the new potentiometer, new joystick. Now that we soldered all of them, we can turn off our solder station, solder iron, and we're gonna do one last cleaning. And we should be almost done. So I spray alcohol. This one has a little bit of flux on top. And we're gonna do one last cleaning, just to smush it there. That's why I use this towel. I don't use any microfiber towel because this one will rip apart and will prevent damage on the board. So if you use microfiber, it can damage the components, it can rip its stuff apart. So that's why I always use workshop towel. All right, so that one is in place. You can use a toothbrush to do a little more cleaning if you want. There we go. Now, what do we need to do is to bring this board in here, put the USB port charge down first, head down, and bring it towards the motherboard and set it there. Put this screw in there, this cover in here, and put the tiny screw right over it. And you want to put the 3 screws that you removed over the motherboard. Make sure the cables are not sitting underneath just like this one. All right. Now that one is in place. Put the keycaps on top. And it's working right now. Right. So what do we need? We need the top portion. In here, we need to put this flex cable in. So you're gonna slide this flex cable somehow, open up the latch and slide it right underneath. I don't know how am I gonna do this, but you have to find a way. I'm gonna remove it from this side so I can put it on this side so that I have more room to work with. I'm gonna use my curved tweezers to help me. The cat hair everywhere. There we go. Right now we need to put this end in. So this end goes in from this side. It's much easier to plug in. Just put it in this position and lock it down. Once you have it in place and locked down, bring up the cover right over. Make sure the joysticks are going through these gaps. And now it's in place. So what we need to do is to put the tiny screws that we removed on top. First put the one the screws that they're all the way in. Right, and the one beside it. I'm gonna put it with a Phillips number 1. There we go. Once I can't reach anymore, I'm just gonna finish it up with this screw. So this one is a screw head number 00. You need a screw bit 1, Phillips number 1. All right. So once that one is in there, we're gonna put this rest of them. Remember the one long screws on this side, on the right side, and the short one is right at the bottom where the battery indicator is, right here. And the last one is right in the other corner. There we go. All right. Once we're done with this one, we want to put the battery in. Slide the battery connector in, put the cover on, remove the screws from here. And we're going to put this cover on, face plate or back plate. Remember the chrome screws that go on the bottom section? These are a Phillips 0. It goes right there and right there. And these other ones, they go on the top section row, on the second row. And to top it up, to finish it off, is to put these covers. This one goes on this side. Yeah, just kind of puzzle. There you go. Just don't force them, it just goes in. And to finish to hold it in place, put the last 2 screws. And this is how you can replace your joystick mechanism for your Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Again, I hope you guys like this video and helped you guys out. You can support the channel by clicking the like and subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. If you have any question or request, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.